Welcome to GAC Time, where we discuss all things General Hospital. So put your feet up, get your teacups, get your snacks, and let's begin. General Hospital Daily Recap for Monday, May 18th, 2026. Let's see what our favorite bunch of characters are up to. I think I'm about truly done with the storyline. So the episode continued on from what happened, and Curtis had punched Isaiah in the face. Portia screaming. The police came because somebody called the police, and they arrested Curtis, right? So Curtis is acting like he didn't do nothing. He's just like, oh, I didn't do nothing, stuff and stuff like that. Isaiah's hand is hurt, right? So Portia was like, yes, he did. You got witnesses, such, and he admitted that he did it. So the officer takes him down to the precinct. Isaiah goes to the hospital, finds out his hand is destroyed, right? He got to have all these operations now. He can't do this surgery because remember, he was just talking to Portia about having that surgery for that little boy. So now he can't perform this surgery. He can't do his job. He can't do nothing because this stupid thing that he did not do. Please get rid of the storyline, please. So what's really bothersome about this, I feel like now that this happened to Isaiah, I hope they don't try to turn him into some like crazy person. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get back at Curtis and stuff like that. They are taking Curtis' character and throwing it in the garbage and then stepping on it and setting it on fire. I was never a real big Curtis fan, but this is so out of character for him. It doesn't make any sense. And if they try to turn Isaiah evil because his hand is messed up and it's Curtis' fault, they need to stop it. just just stop it now. But other than that, that's what happened with that. So Curtis goes down to the precinct because they took him down there. Dante was catching up with Mac, and as they're catching up, Laura came in because Laura said she had an Anna update, and she wanted to tell Mac what was going on, and then she was going to tell the rest of the family. But Mac was like, "No, you know what? Let's just tell everybody at once, right?" So Laura thought that was a good idea. Dante did tell Laura, "You know what? Tell Anna, her job is here waiting for her as soon as she's ready to come back." So Laura, gave him a gentle smile and left. As Dante's still there later on, the new detective comes in. He got Curtis in handcuffs, and Dante is going, are these cuffs necessary? Because he's looking at Curtis, because they all friends and stuff like that. So he takes the cuffs off of Curtis. The detective looked at Dante like he had 18 heads. He was just like, "What are you doing?" So he is not appreciating that, what Dante just did. So we have a new detective in town. His name is Joe Fitzpatrick. He arrested Curtis at the Metro Court, and Dante was talking to him because basically he was like, did he do it? Did he cause this altercation? So the detective said, yeah, he admitted to it. But then Dante asked him again, did he do it? I'm like, did we miss the part where where Curtis said he did it, and on top of that, Portia was like he did it, and then they got about 500 eyewitnesses that he did it. So I'm like, look, Dante needs to go in there and have a serious conversation with Curtis. But he did go talk to Curtis, and he was kind of like, well, give me your side of the story. And Curtis started rambling on about that whole theory that he has that it was Isaiah's fault about that accident. That don't mean you get to assault people in the street because you upset about something that's not even true. And then from there, he's like, okay, well, you know what? um this is dumb, let me go. He wanted to go on about his way. He's like, it's a nothing burger. Basically that's what he was saying. He was like, I guess once he irons it out with Isaiah and Portia, then this would be over. And Dante was like, it's not that easy. Like, you probably gonna be brought up in charge. He said the only way you're gonna get out of here is if somebody bails you out, or I forgot what the other reason was. So he was trying to call Michael, but he couldn't get Michael on the phone. So he got Jordan. I think he called Jordan and told him he couldn't get to Michael. But Jordan anyway came down there and got him out, bailed him out. She needs to put her listening ears on because this is way more than this accident. And Jordan is not listening. She needs to listen because Curtis is really speeding out of control, and it all got to do with something else. So we'll see what happens with this. Guys, if you have not already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it really helps the channel grow. So I felt so bad for Emma. Emma had asked Felicia to give her the recipe for some cake or something like that because she wants to make dinner for Gio. Felicia did a nice thing. She just made the cake because she was like, I want to, show Gio that we, really appreciative. He's really doing so much for you, making, because this is a hard time for her. Grandmother's going, making her happy and stuff like that. So, Emma went to go and take a mug off the counter and she broke it by accident. Emma just bust out crying because she was like, this is the mug that I made for my grandmother when I was 10 years old. It's irreplaceable. So Felicia just felt, she was trying to comfort her and stuff like that. Later on, like just piling on poor Emma, Laura comes in and she gives the family the update on Anna. So they said Anna had broke out. She had got out of that little facility that she's in. She was almost over the border and stuff like that to get out of that place. The people caught up to her in France and then they said they put her in prison and they like we gonna put her in a more secure facility for the mentally insane or something like that. Look what I'm saying. Poor Emma crying. She was like, my grandmother doesn't belong in prison. No, she don't belong in prison. And she was like, what could be done? I don't understand this. The thing is that I'm like, how do y'all know that whoever was doing what to they just think Anna's crazy. Anna needs to be in the States so that they can watch her, right? It doesn't make any sense that she's still out there. If you think that Sidwell and them people and all them other folks is not doing something to Anna, they are crazy. I know they don't know about Sidwell and them, but they do know something happened to her, right? She was gone. There was some little shady stuff going on. To be on the safe side, bring her back to the States. I understand if the Paris people says she can't leave. You gonna tell me you don't know nobody? You don't know not a soul somewhere that can get her out of there. Okay, right. I don't believe that. Anyway, Gio comes in and is comforting Emma because she is just devastated. She was like, what can we do about my grandmother? This is just not right. I feel the same way as Emma. They need to do something. But anyway, Laura says she's thinking about somebody that can help. Please, Laura, do something. Pull something out of your hat because something needs to be done right away. I did hear the actress that plays Anna. We're gonna start seeing scenes from her soon, so I can't wait to see what she's been up to. And something tells me that these people have been doing something to her extra, like they was doing before when she was locked up in that basement. Josh is still talking to Nathan and she's trying to get him to share more information and stuff like that. She did tell Nathan why she or I should say Cassius why she joined the WSB, right? And because he was like, what's the reason you got a trust fund baby and stuff like that? Why didn't you just do something else? So she was like, the WSB gives her purpose because after, she didn't say Dex, but she was like somebody important to her got hurt and she was able to get, some kind of comeuppance on the person that did it. And she didn't think she would be able to do it, but she was able to do it and stuff. I was just like, what are we talking about? I just don't buy her as a WSB agent. But then on top of that, she was telling him she chose this life and she knows she will get herself out of this situation. How? How you getting out of this situation, Josh? So anyway, Cash is just looking at her. He was just like, I guess unless he want her out of that situation, she ain't getting out of it. The thing that I don't understand about Cash's plan, because he supposedly is doing this to keep Josh safe, but why lock her down that room, right? Pascal has access to that room. What if Pascal goes down there for some reason and just tells Sidwell that she's down there? They're going to start asking questions on why she's there. But on top of that, she said this thing gives her purpose. I don't see what kind of purpose the WSB gives her. I really wish they would get this child out of the storyline. It just doesn't work. But we'll see what happens with this. But the one thing too, her cards fell behind the bed. And she pulled the bed out and she saw Anna's message. So now she knows where Anna was at all that time that she was missing. Now, if you see how long they kept Anna down there, and Anna got years of experience, and she wasn't able to get out of there. Sure, she got out of there when she was crazy, right? Made her have messed with her brain so much. John's got to know she is really on the clock. Nina is all wrapped up in this Brennan thing, and I'm almost thinking they may put Nina with Brennan, right? Brennan probably gonna come out of that and don't remember what happened, and all of a sudden Nina gonna be hovering around him and stuff like that. So they probably gonna put them two together. But she's all looking all frantic as usual. Ava's asking her if she's okay, and she's like, and then she's asking her like, why are you hanging around Brennan? So she was like, oh, he had that stroke in the house, and she felt bad, so she felt like she should check in on him. This okay, whatever. So Ava is just like, she's just asking her, be careful with that because WSB is, how the WSB is. But she was like, no, she feels responsible, so she wants to make sure that he's okay. Ava was trying to tell Nina her story about what happened with Sonny and stuff like that. Nina wasn't even barely paying attention to that. She's just wrapped up in this Brennan thing. So, and I can understand because if Brennan gets up, realize what they did, who knows what he'll do, right? So, Ava was just, Nina was telling, Nina said something about Cullum, and I just want to bring it up because I was like, you know what, that wraps it. When I say he's creepy, it's what Nina said. Nina said he's like cold and detached. That is exactly it. Like he just doesn't. It seemed like he has no kind of feelings for anything. That man plays his part very well, right? So Nina was just like, she keeping her eye out and stuff like that. So Ava was just like, well, keep me in the loop, and next time we'll meet for drinks and we'll get something else. So it's good that they kind of caught up to see what happens, but I feel like she should tell Ava what's going on. I don't think Ava would tell anybody, but she needs some other advice besides Willow, because Willow is going to lead her to a prison cell. Jordan was telling Justine how wrapped up Curtis is and finding out that Isaiah is the one that did this. He wants to find proof, and stuff like that. And Justine was asking Jordan what she wants. She was like, well, she wants to know why Isaiah did it because why would he just leave her on the side of the road? Think about what they're saying. This man is a doctor, he's a surgeon, he saves lives. Why would he just leave you on the side of the road? It does not make sense, right? So Justine was like, well, I don't know why somebody would do that. Maybe they didn't hear it. Maybe this, maybe that. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to go too much into that. Every time I do one of these recaps, I'm telling you how the storyline doesn't make sense. I'm sure we all feel the same way. Jordan did say, you know what, overall, regardless of who did it, she was responsible for the accident, right? Thank you, Jordan. So, but Justine chimed in and was like, well, Curtis is doing what he's doing because he wants to fight for you. Fight for what? What are you fighting for? She said it. She did it. She need to fight. He gonna fight Jordan? It's time for her to start healing. So she said yeah, but she was like it just still doesn't change what happens, right? And it's the truth. It doesn't change what happens. He could try to fight till the sun come home. That's why I said this whole thing with Isaiah is not about Isaiah. It's about that baby. It's about Portia. So the whole thing is silly. We all know that. So that's where I'm at with that. So Justine was just like, while that was going on, her phone rung. Jordan's phone rung. It was Curtis calling saying he was looking for Michael because he needed to get bailed out of there. We know Jordan goes to the precinct and she bails him out. But Justine overheard the conversation, about him getting picked up. Sonny and Gio was catching up. Gio was at the Quartermains, and Sonny came over to see baby Phoebe, right? So, while they were there, Gio was just telling him that, he's happy. He's helping Trina with her showcase, and he wants to practice because he want to make sure he don't mess it up for her. He ain't gonna mess it up for her, and Trina will be fine. But Sonny was like, and then he was thanking Sonny for helping him get back to the music. He was like, the music is means so much to him. And he's like, I know you want to tell me I told you so and stuff like that. But Sonny was like, no, he's just happy he's getting back in the groove, and maybe one day he'll get back to that violin. But we'll see what happens with that. Their conversation was pretty short. It was just them going over how much he loves music and that he's happy he's finding his way back to it. Later, Justine called him. She had an emergency, so they went over to their little secret rendezvous place. But Justine made a valid point. She was like, Jordan is her friend. And he was like, Curtis done got picked up and arrested, and she was like, now I'm gonna have to prosecute my friend's boyfriend or whatever, yeah, boyfriend. Sorry, because I'm over here like, are they married yet? No, they're not married. So so she feels some kind of way about that. You can excuse yourself. There is Molly's there, she could take the case. But the thing is that you're gonna have to do your job, Justine. Do your job. Curtis was in the wrong. That man's hand, Isaiah's hand, is worth a lot of money. Right? Let's say it like that. That hand, I'm sure his hands are insured. So I'm like, for him to have that altercation with him, Curtis is blowing this off like it wasn't a thing. Like he was just kind of like, oh, tell him to get over it, and and I'm out of here. I didn't do nothing wrong. Yes, you did. Even if you believe that you did, this man did this, you can't go around assaulting people. Let the law do what they're supposed to do. And the law right now is saying you guys don't have no case. So I'm gonna leave it at with that. Justine is gonna have to do her job. She's probably gonna have to prosecute Curtis. More than likely, I'm sure Portia gonna talk Isaiah out of filing charges, and they're gonna let him go. But I don't know. I feel like Curtis needs to get some comeuppance for this, because this storyline is just dumb. But anyway, let me guys know what you think down in the comment section. I love some thumbs up, smiley faces, encouraging words. And guys, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to hit that bell notification and to like and subscribe, because it really helps the channel. And thank you for joining us again at GHT Time. Till next time, bye.